talk to trailblazing dancer and choreographer Andy Dlamini, who is continuing to fly the South African flag high on the international dance scene. As Amapiano continues to explode onto the global stage, dancers from South Africa are gaining exposure and recognition for their unique performances. So let's talk more about her journey as a South African dancer in Paris. Dlamini joins me now. Good morning.
Hi.
Ça va bien? Ça va bien? How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's so wonderful. So, I mean, you know, you think about New York, you think about Paris, you think about London. Amapiano certainly exploding on the international scene. In fact, I was sending a note to our producers this morning. In the US, they're having Amapiano Sundays, and they were featured on local television stations there. So it's captured the imagination. Talk to us about the music and the culture in general before we talk specifically about your successes and your impact.
Okay. Well, Amapiano in Paris has blown up since, I could say, COVID 2020, and I was here. And it's grown into a whole movement. There's a lot of events, social events happening. There's a lot of dance classes happening. There's a lot of interest surrounding South Africa, especially with the Rugby World Cup and all the attention being drawn to South African people and what we can do best. So the music scene in Europe in general is huge for South African artists. And it's been really great witnessing the growth since 2020, yeah.
I mean, we're seeing your video play on and I'm going to ask you a slightly selfish question. I see that you danced with Uncle Waffles recently, and I know that there was a performance, I think it might have been in Paris or in London. Did you dance with a girl called Eva, a Ukrainian girl, Lithuanian girl?
No, that's the London team.
Oh, okay. Because again, she's a Lithuanian living in the UK, but so totally in love with Amapiano music and the dance genre that comes with it. So I just wondered, it was a natural question. So talk to us about the dance styles themselves. We're sharing some of those moves with our viewers now, and the dancing goes hand in hand with the music. So what are some of the elements of this dance, and what goes into putting together choreography that matches what the DJs and the artists are doing?
Nice. Well, that's a very good question. It's really amazing how Amapiano dance merged itself with the music at the very same time. So almost every song that's viral has a step that goes with it. And people who curate this music, you know, contact choreographers to create a specific dance to go with the song, which helps create a vocabulary, firstly, for the dance. And it also creates memory that when you hear the song, you know that this is the move that is associated with it. So I really like the fact that artists are including choreographers, and us choreographers are being part of creating things for the music. And those two things, that go together so well. Everyone that discovers the music first ends up finding my classes or ends up falling in love with the dance, because it's just so contagious. You cannot just watch. You have to like get up and dance and try something, yeah.
Are they hard? I mean, can I do it? I mean, you know, I've still got some give in my hips. I mean, I think I can make it.
I think so. There are some steps that you can do. Honestly, that's the one thing I like about Amapiano. It's very open.
Right.
So there is beginner moves that is just for social vibes, just for sharing, just for a good time. And there are the more technical stuff that is for professional dancers. So there's definitely steps that you can do, like the pouncing cat. Everyone knows the pouncing cat. You can do that one.
I think I got it. I don't know if you can see me, but I think it's happening. Maybe I need to work with you a little bit more. But as you say, you know, when the music plays, it's definitely a dance. I mean, there are dance moves that kind of, you know, go so well, like Biscuit and Tea, I suppose, with those. How do you innovate? And maybe for those who know this genre much better than I do, and I must say, I listen to a lot of Amapiano music. Of course, there's, you know, there's Major League, besides Uncle Waffles, you know, as a really prolific DJ. And of course, my children listen to it. So it's in our atmosphere. For those who know it better than myself, there are specific dance moves. So talk to us about some of those moves, but also how you can innovate. I mean, is there space for you to innovate and bring something new and different?
Yeah, I think in terms of innovation, it's just there's no boundaries. You don't have to be a choreographer to bring a new step to the scene. Like, I like how you mentioned Uncle Waffles. You know, she's brought about dance moves that, specifically come from her. The kind of attitude that she does when she's dancing and she's playing. It's you can associate certain moves with her. Same with Kamompela. She's one of the pioneers of a lot of dance steps in Amapiano. So I don't think you have to be a professional dancer to, create something new. And for me, when it comes to creating moves and trying to be creative, I just go with the flow. I just try to figure out how I feel, which part of my body is reacting the most to the music. And I just try to create something according to that. Or I'll do my research and try to find some inspiration. But it's very much open, it's very broad. And Amapiano, because it's so fresh and it's so new, there's not many rules. So you're very free to experiment and try something new.
I mean, I was in a club in Queens last week. I was in the US last week. And I think one of the things that one of the DJs that we were with, who is an Amapiano DJ, was complaining about was this conflation between Amapiano and Afro beats. They're two very, very different things, two very separate genres. There may be some crossovers in some of the musicians. I mean, we know that Burna Boy, for example, collaborates with South African musicians on certain tracks, which might resemble more Amapiano. And again, don't hate me if I've got that wrong, guys. Don't come for me. I'm just saying what I sort of know. Why is it important for it to have a very specific identity, that when you say Amapiano, you know exactly what the music and what the dance is?
It's super important that people educate themselves about the difference, because it's forming part of our identity as South Africans. And it's something that we have to protect, we have to respect, and we have to be able to identify where to place certain music. Every country has its own sound, and we've found a sound that is specifically for us. And we need to always know the difference, and other people need to respect the differences that we have. And when we collaborate with other artists, Afrobeats artists, I think that is really dope. I think that it broadens our spectrum. But at the same time, those that discover from artists like Burna Boy, they might think that that's Amapiano, but that's just another version, a collaboration with Afrobeats. So I think it goes a lot into just doing research, being open to learn more. And it's very important that us as South Africans, we push that thing that is like, this is what Amapiano is. And it's not everywhere. This is what Amapiano is. Yeah.
What is it like performing on those stages? We know that there is just this blossoming love affair between audiences, the Amapiano DJs and musicians and artists, and especially dancers like yourself. So just take us into that moment of when you're in front of an audience in Paris.
It's crazy. I was performing in Les Ardentes in Belgium. It was a really big festival with Uncle Waffles. And it's very surreal because the crowd is very shocked. The crowd in Europe is not used to seeing such amazing dance that goes with the music.
Hey!
Yeah, and that's that. So when we start dancing, the crowd is just like, what? They got their phones out, and it's like, sometimes it's quiet, not because it's horrible, but because they're just like, what is this? So you have to kind of tune out all the other stuff, and you just have to do the job, and you just have to dance. And after you're done dancing, that's when they come back and they're like, oh my God, this was hectic. So I think it's very different. You don't get the response right away, or I block it out. And I just do the thing, and people love it. They get shocked. They get like, what is this? But maybe with time, they'll be able to like interact at the same time. Like once you start dancing, they're like, whoa, they need to get to that point, because they're still a little bit like, shocked.
Yeah, and they got to begin to feel it as well. And we know that music is all about that connection, to people. It is languageless, it is borderless. It's a feeling, really. It's something that gets into you. Pardon me, I want to talk about your crossover and your transition. It's very hard, from what I understand, dancers who are friends of, my children, and so on, you know, talk about the difficulties of the industry. You don't always get gigs. You don't always get onto a stage with a big performer, and the sustainability is an issue. So I'm glad to see that you're choreographing, choreographing. You're also doing classes and things like that online, which I imagine is a financial support. But talk to us about having your start in South Africa and then transitioning to a global stage, because I think a lot of people who aspire to what you're doing want to know how you did it.
Right. Okay. So when I was in South Africa, I was working at a club and I was doing dancing and I was wearing heels. It was very much just entertaining people who are coming there to party. And I always had that yearning for more. I've always been a dancer. I've always been attending schools for dance. And I just felt like it was great in the beginning, but I wanted more. So I started doing auditions in Joburg and trying to get into the scene, which was very difficult because there was this transition of like, you're not a professional dancer, you're a club dancer. And that's the bridge that I was trying to cross over and prove myself. And there were some jobs that I did that were really fun, but I did feel like there's so many amazing dancers in South Africa, like amazing dancers. And sometimes there's not enough jobs, as you mentioned, there's not enough jobs for all of us at the same time. So I just thought about, what if I go to, you know, Europe and I invest in a dance school, and I just try to work on my professionalism, and maybe that can also, you know, make me a better dancer so I can better compete in the industry. And that's why I came to Paris. There's a dance school that I was here for, and I did a year and a half. And it was super amazing for me because I got all those little things that I was missing in my dancing, all the techniques that I was missing to help me to cross over. And after I finished the school, that's when I was like training on my own, and I saw the Amapiano vibe, and I was like, I know this thing. Like, if you grow up in South Africa and you watch a video of Amapiano, you know the dance moves that are there. Because I knew that we were doing this way before we called it Amapiano. It was just a social vibe. So I started training, and I started pushing myself in Paris as one of the only South African choreographers in Europe who's doing a really good job in teaching.
I love it, my darling. You just light up my eyes and my heart, really, talking about investing in my own business overseas, seeing an opportunity and seizing that opportunity, being unique in the field. All of these things, tick, tick, tick. And I can't wait to continue to watch your journey, Andy. And when I hope to see you on stage as well, because I'm sure that it is absolutely electrifying. So go well, continue to do well, and continue to fly our country's flag high.